Here and now, I am knowing and trusting in this moment, for God is omnipresent. God is omniscient. God is omnipotent. The power, the very power that moves the stars, that beats each heart, is present always. This is God. God is in every person here and every person all over the world. And this peace, this absolute peace, heaven on earth, is not only available, but it is here. It is here now, spreading through each heart and from each heart and around each heart, in, through, and as each and every person on earth. And as I know this for myself, and I know this for each person here, I know this for this very meeting of heart and mind that is our Center for Spiritual Living Beaumont Sunday service. I am knowing that everything here moves with the grace and the ease that is God. I know that each person is here to receive this message, will receive this message and bring this message brought to us through that beautiful person, that beautiful face of God that is Reverend Leora Nash. It will take it into their heart and spread it out into the world. We will spread this absolute knowledge that is peace on earth, here and now, from each and every person here. It spreads throughout the entire universe. And in knowing this, I release this gladly in thanksgiving throughout and from myself and throughout the world around me. I let go and I let God, knowing that these words are true, knowing that this service is blessed and that this world is blessed. I let go and I let God, and together let us anchor and affirm this statement by saying together, and so it is.
At Center for Spiritual Living Beaumont, we believe in spiritual living. Above all else, it is a philosophy that teaches us how to think and not what to think. We invite everyone to practice this philosophy by living in principle. We believe that God is all there is, and each person's relationship to God is a personal one. Every person, place, and thing, and all the space in between is not only an expression of God, but God itself. All love, peace, and beauty that is God exists within each person right now. Together we are all connected as one. Our faith allows us to apply this philosophy to our lives in every moment of every day. As we live in love, we see love revealed and flowing through the world around us. We act as citizens of this spiritual community at all times. This is how we think. We believe in God, we believe in ourselves, and we believe in you because we believe in spiritual living. We are the Center for Spiritual Living Beaumont.
And indeed, we are the Center for Spiritual Living of Beaumont, and we're on. So good morning, everyone. So what a beautiful morning it has just magnified within me in terms of the joy and certainly the celebration of December, because we have Hanukkah, and then we have our Christmas time, and then we have Kwanzaa. There's so much that's impacting the month of December. It's just beautiful. It's a beautiful time of the year. So what we're going to talk about today is the significance of Christmas. And I invite you all to come Wednesday evening, which is going to be a special, wonderful time of celebration. And we're going to move into the 12 powers of man, and we're going to look at the spiritual aspects of what those 12 powers are, because those 12 powers live within each one of us. And the beauty of the 12 powers is that we will have 12 wonderful, powerful, beautiful persons that are going to come up and read a power, and yet they're representative of each and every one of us. So with that, and with the practitioners, they also will share delightful readings that inspire us, that move us into Christmas Day. And I wanted to speak directly to Christmas. And if anyone is wondering why it is that I'm not dealing specifically on the birth aspect of the Christ, Jesus the Christ, because I want us to get in touch with the rebirthing within each one of us. We are that spiritual gift of God. And the more that we infuse and remember and recognize that inner light that is us, the more significant we will find ourselves empowered to live life on a daily basis. There are no promises. There's only the gift of self in life. There's only that gift of light. And as we turned on the candles today, and as we lit the candles, and we will light more candles on Wednesday night, that we have to remember we are the light bearers. We are the lighters within our own life. So when it is that we find ourselves in that myriad of darkness, we are the ones that can turn within and ignite that spark of God within us, because God has never abandoned us. It's always there. It is for each of us individually to remember. Got it? Got it? All right, good. I like energy. So the significance of Christmas is to fully understand the significance of Christmas. One must understand the nature of God and the function of the Son of God. So the nature of God, what is the nature of God? God is eternal. God is infinite. God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. That which is, always has been, and always will be. So we never run out of God. If anything, we run into it. We run into the depths of our own soul. We awaken ourselves. Rather than feeling as if we have to run away from something, run into yourself. Begin to wake up and just say, this is not going to hold me down. I have the power within to ignite that light within me. And we can go through any aspect that life throws at us. You see, life is eternal. We have the distinguished honor of living life. And each of us lives life individually. So we cannot basically cover or be for someone else. Every one of us individually, independently, is all about living our own individual life. Simple, but complex. And since we and the Father are one, the infinite nature of God's being is our being. All that the Father hath is established in each one of us. Wisdom, his mind, his glory, his grace, his presence, his being, and I find it interesting that the reference is always his, so we'll refer to it as it, and covers us gals. The very breath of its life is the breath of our life as well, because the Father and I are one. And that's what we have to know about ourselves. The Father and I are one. It is, I like to use the reference, it is not a dangling participle outside of ourselves. It's within us. We are it. It is us. And once we integrate and get that relationship of that personal relationship, whatever God is who we are. That's what it is. It's not something greater up in the sky that we have to imagine that we create ourselves into becoming to be like it. It is for each of us to be who we be, to self-correct, to self-cultivate, to self-rise within that glory of understanding of who it is that we are. And we're powerful and we're magnificent. And we need not allow anything other than our inner self to awaken to that truth. Therefore, we can manage, we can handle absolutely anything, because we are that power and the authority of life itself. And believe me, you've already tried it because you're living it. You're here. Christmas is the revelation made 2,000 years ago that God had planted in every human consciousness from the very beginning, the seed that was to evolve as his son. And that means that as we were each born, that light that is life within us is that living Spirit of God. So we are a child of God. So let's remember that during this holy season. This seed, a spiritual influence, A spiritual power which evolves as the Son of God has been planted in the consciousness of every single individual ever born into human experience. Ever born into human experience. No one escapes it. So none of us has an excuse that we can use that we're not part of the livingness of God. It's just how it is. So no one has ever existed or exists now or ever will exist without this seed having been implanted in his consciousness and which develops as the Son of God in us. So how are we using God? How are we using that information that we finally connect with? And it doesn't mean that we've known this all our lives. Sometimes when my dad used to say, he remembered so many individuals that he would say to us girls, there was 2 of us in the family, and he would say, and I never understood this, he would always say, so-and-so just passed away, but they finally connected themselves to God. And sometimes it takes a lifetime as we're leaving to awaken to the fact that we are connected with God. We are in life itself. So the denial of our behavior, of our choices, of our wimpiness, all of a sudden becomes empowered, and we have that strength. And I believe that it takes strength to move from this livingness to move on to greater glory. I think that's the greatest step that we will make in living our lives, is to leave our loved ones, leave our associations, leave our environment. Yes, we hurt, but it takes a great deal of power to just say, I'm out of here. I'm on to greater glory. So we need not look at it so much as a sense of sorrow, a sense of loss. If we can begin to recognize this is just how it is as it is, and the it is God, that we move on to that expansion and that welcoming of what God is. There comes a specific period in life of each individual when one comes to the places of spiritual enunciation, and that's what I just talked about, in which the Christ is conceived, nurtured, developed until on Christmas Day. And it's not just December 25th. It says on Christmas Day, the child is born. That inner child within us, the individual that has that recognition of wisdom and light. And now I know. And now I know. There's no more questions. I just simply know. Or in other words, the presence of the Christ is realized. That we realize that oneness, that connection, that God is and I am that God is. And what a blessing that is, so that we can give thanks. And at some point in time, we don't have to physically die, but we can die to our consciousness that has held us back or confined us in such a way that we have been unable to move forward with our livingness, with our daily livingness. Maybe that means surrender. Maybe that means forgiveness. Maybe that means making a choice. Maybe that means stepping onto a new direction, a new path. Whatever that is, to have the ability, the strength to say, I'm through with that. And yes, now with this light that is within me, that I can turn up and turn on and be that wonderment of what God is that is me, that's calling me forth. I can go forward in great glory to be that. That's just who we are. And every one of us has that capability. Oh gosh, let me see, I get so excited here. There is a child that's born within each one of us. And I think about individuals whom I have known that have not actually physically birthed a child. And that includes moms and dads. But we each birth the aliveness of our own recognition of self. We are that own parentage of that inner child. It is the realization of the God Spirit that is within us. And Joel Goldsmith, who's a prolific New Thought writer, He wrote this in 1955. God planted the seed of himself in each of us, the seed that springs forth as the fully developed Son of God, whose mission it is that we may know fulfillment, that our lives may be fulfilled, that we may show forth the kingdom and the glory of God. That is the secret of the significance of Christmas. The divine reality of you, the Son of God, the daughter of God. In you, the Holy Grail that you are seeking is within your own consciousness. It doesn't mean your child, it doesn't mean your mom, it doesn't mean your dad, it doesn't mean your spouse. It's within each one of us. So enjoy who you are. Love who you are. Be blessed in the realization of who you are. There's no one else in this entire universe that is you. We are so individualized, and how wonderful it is once we connect with that reality. Hey, we are so unique. We're powerful. We're beautiful. It's exciting. I get excited. So let me see. That is the secret of significance of Christmas. The divine reality of you, the Son of God in you, the Holy Grail that you are seeking is within your own consciousness. All the sacredness of the eternality, the immortality, the Son of God is established within you. When you understand the nature of that which is inherent in you and which awaits your raising up in you for your redemption, your salvation, you are functioning as children of God on earth. This is Christmas. And I know I have heard the expression, if I've heard it, I know you have heard it, that every day is like Christmas. I know you've heard that. And we often associate Christmas with December 25th, but just realize that that's a high day, a holy day of simply just recognizing the truth of our being, that we can celebrate Christmas each and every day because we celebrate the glory of who we are. This is the Christ Mass, when we realize that we are sent forth to show forth all of God's glory. This is why we live. This is why we exist, to bring about the goodness of what life is truly all about. And remembering life is eternal. It is our individualized living life that makes the quality difference, that brings about that light, that inner light within ourselves, that we get to shine. And no one else can shine like we do. And what a blessing that is. So there's an affirmation I want to share with you, and then I want us to really embody it and claim it. And it is, the Spirit within me makes all things new. And I want to say it again so you can catch it. I'll read a little slower. The Spirit within me makes all things new. So let's try that together. The Spirit within me makes all things new. Can you feel that? Can you feel it? The life and expression of the divine is here and now. As this moment and as each experiencing this etherical moment, God pours itself through all creation, using itself as both the putty and the sculpture. Kind of fun, isn't it? Kind of fun. And I think about the putty and the sculpture and thinking that each of us is born in this unique, wonderful, blessed body, each has a different color hue, each molded differently, but we all have the same two eyes, we have the same nose, and we have the same mouth, but yet it's all sculptured so beautifully and differently, individually. It's exciting. Ernest Holmes writes in the Science of Mind New Thought literature, we are not becoming this life, but are now of this life. There is no other life. God is not becoming, God is. God is not growing, God is complete. God is not trying to find out something, God already knows. And that's in the Science of Mind, page 292.4, if you want to verify. And then there's another quote that I liked. God's calling us. Sounds like an alarm. But the next quote is, let us learn to be still and let the truth speak through us. To be still and know that the inner light shines. And that's in the Science of Mind text, page 369.1. And isn't it amazing how I always say when we get all stoved up and we get all angry and we get all puffed up and all that, and all we have to do is just stop. Just stop. Relax. Move into that inner silence of the light of God. Because when we're all cheered up, all this other stuff comes out from the mind chatter that's going on, usually relating to circumstance or emotion or feeling. And yet when we move into that sacred place that is within us, we're just devoid of feeling. We just simply exist. And that's where the presence of God is. And when we move into that place, we're enamored and we're able then to come from a different place in consciousness. So we silence the mouth, calm the heart, and we move into this place of self-management. Does that make sense? I truly believe that that's the way, the truth of God, because it's never angry. It's never overly joyous. It just is. And how do you explain what is? You know, there's no variables. There's no waves. There's no ups and there's no downs. There's no qualifications. It just is. So remembering in those places where we recognize that in this moment, the quality of stillness enables me, allow yourself to go there. You're the only one that can do that. You're the only one that can do that. And there's a saying, peace, be still. That's what it's all about. Let us accept an absolute truth. Ye are the light. Ye are the light that lighteth up every man and woman who cometh into the world. Ye are the light that shines within us, illumines us as we awaken to it. We celebrate that awakening during this holiday season. It is that awakening that allows each of us to recognize our divinity and to live in the awakening, the awareness of the wonder that each of us is alert. Awake to one's physical presence. Are you awake to your physical body? Are you awake to that? Do you feel as if you're living a spiritual life? Are you awake to the fact of your inner mind, your sense of being, your connection with that inner God, that peace be still? In this awakening, we recognize our divinity and we live in the awareness light is ever present. And we choose to see clearly. We choose to see clearly. We are indeed thankful for this moment. May this moment in time awaken light within each of us. Let us be convinced we are free to soar in every area, phase, and dimension of this life. What a privilege it is to be alive and awake and aware in this lifetime, living within this body context. I always say this body suit that we each are constructed in. It is done unto each of us as we believe. And I'm going to close with a couple of Ernest Holmes' points, because he says that the word Christ for us means the idea of God being inside of us. Let us find beauty around us. Let us see beauty in oneself. The divine reality of you, the Son of God in you, the Holy Grail that you are seeking is within your own consciousness. And I have a letter that was written by Dr. Holmes. And I wish I knew what year it was written. I'm not certain, because he passed away back in the 50s. But it's a Christmas letter from Ernest Holmes. Christmas is for remembrance. The love manifested through our gifts to each other typifies the offer of life and the givingness of spirit to its creations. The hands of the eternal are outstretched through our hands, and the heart of the infinite beats in the human breast. But the giver must give of himself, herself, for the gift without the giver is bare. It is not then in lavish gifts that we find true giving, but in the sweet simplicity of remembrance, in the kindly thought, the tolerant mind, and the gentle act. Love alone can give love. Sympathy alone can sympathize, and only goodness can really do or be good. The one who gives for reward does not give at all. He seeks to bargain, to trade for spiritual gifts. Hence he senses a loss in his own giving and finds no completion through the act. But he who gives half his meat to the hungry feels justified and is warmed by a real sense of comradeship. He has established an actual unity between himself and herself and other offsprings of creation. Great causes succeed when there is a giving of humanity to humanity. With the check must come the one who wrote it. His interest, his enthusiasm, his love. The check must be a symbol of his desire to impart of himself, herself. Then shall it multiply its benefits and do good. Charity is cold, but love is warm. When heart speaks to a heart, of divine conversation has taken place, a heavenly discourse. Each of us has something to give. Let each see that he gives of his or her best. If we are bringing our gifts to the altar of love, nothing less than the best will be acceptable. Nothing less than all is enough. May the real spirit of Christmas, the giving of the self to life, enter and abide in you now and through all times. Sincerely, Ernest Holmes. And with that, with the closure of Ernest Holmes' powerful, powerful words, I wish and extend to each of you and your loved ones and your families and your neighbors to the world peace and blessings. Merry Christmas, and I know I will see you Wednesday evening for a very delightful uplift of the living spirit of the living God, so that we can celebrate the light of God within us. Thank you. So we're going to move into healing prayer at this time. So I invite you to close your eyes and just be in touch with the magnificence of who you are. And it's not too often that we simply give thanks to our lineage, to our parentage. For through the ages of time and space and revelation of persons that have brought us into being in this body suit that we call self. So we give thanks for the joy and the alignment with the light of God that we have become so aware of in the midst of our existence. We give thanks for all of what has ever occurred throughout our life, our livingness, our sorrows, our joys. It is all unscripted. It's just a part of what is. So we bring all of those gifts, and I call them gifts. The pains, the pleasures, the joys, the weakness, the strengths, the courage, the exactness of our individual experience. They're all gifts. Gifts of the eternal beingness that empowers us to live daily, to have that courage and that strength to never give up, to have that courage and strength to think, to react, to respond in a powerful way that is of love, for love lights the way. It is within this reality that we sit together in community under the roof of this beautiful chapel, knowing that there's a vibrancy here, knowing that the doors are open and wide to welcome those hungry souls looking for solace and direction to turn on their light as they move through their own darkness. It is within this vein of love and this vein of light that we feel and sense and move into a greater experience and expression of what the truth of Christmas is. We can let go of all the fol-de-rah and move deeply into the spiritual reality of who we are and giving thanks. We begin to realize that we are the gift of life, the gift of God that continues to give. And in knowing this and accepting this as the power, the truth of our being, we allow ourselves to simply accept, acknowledge, claim, and know that I be this presence of the living God. I am the very nature of the living God as my truth. It is within that I live and breathe, that I am blessed to bless others. And if you're accepting of this truth for yourself, of knowing, accepting, and being simply the reality of who you are, let us affirm together. And so it is. Amen. Amen.
Thank you for joining us for our Sunday service. Please remember to like, comment, and share this video on Facebook, YouTube, and any other social media you are a member of. To donate to CSL Beaumont, you can text GIVE to 951-420-6909, or you can visit our website at cslbeaumont.org and click the donate button at the top or bottom of the page. You can also mail your donation to CSL Beaumont, 802 Maple Avenue, Beaumont, California, 92223. Have a blessed day, and namaste.